And we're live.
Yeah. Day 2, guys. Welcome to the 15 miles per hour in 5 days surf challenge. Day 2. As you guys are streaming in here, tell us your favorite part from yesterday, and we will always give you a nice little recap here. Take some time for people to get on the internet and get situated. So we'll give you a little bit of time. Go get your racket. Go get a cup of coffee. Bruce from Little Falls, New Jersey. What's going on? You want me to just do a quick little day 1 recap, Rudy?
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about a lot of things yesterday, and some of the things you might consider basics, but they're very important. We talked about the continental grip and how it is not just your index knuckle, but also your heel pad.
Like so.
All jokes aside, we talked about how that heel pad, if it slides to bevel 3, is going to make things terrible for you and probably lead to weight or stray. So if you need the details of that, go check out the recordings for sure. We talked about the stance and how we want to pull our back foot back where our back toe is even with our front heel to guarantee, Nate Dogg, that we get really big rotation from our hips.
Got to be able to coil, guys.
Got to be able to coil. We then talked about a drill to make sure our tossing arm stays up, and then we get into this rear pelvic tilt, almost like we're shooting a bow and arrow into the sky. And then we talked about how to throw the perfect toss by holding the ball with your fingertips, releasing at eye level with no bend from your joints.
Yep.
And now it's time for day 2.
And while we're waiting for people to, we always say we're on a little bit of a delay, so we're waiting for people to join. Let us know what your favorite parts were from day 1. If you have any questions about day 1, get them in there. And then we'll start getting into day 2 material, and you can ask your questions on that as well.
For sure. Yeah. And we're going to, for those of you who have joined challenges of ours in the past, we typically kind of like put you in timeout and make you wait till we're done working through lots of stuff. And then we open up the floor for questions. We have found that it actually goes better if, as we go through it, you just fire your questions in real time because of that delay. So as we're talking about day 2, anything that comes to your mind, any questions that you have, throw them in the chat. We will stop and answer them here in real time, assuming we don't get completely flooded.
B-Man Busey. What's up, homie?
B-Man. B-Man Busey. Busey?
I don't know.
Gary Busey.
B-Man.
Gary B-Man Busey. All right. Shall we get into day 2?
Let's get it.
You or me? Probably you.
Well, we're talking about the right to left. This is really the measure you want to take to prevent weight or stray and getting out of getting that joint position that ends up into this internal shoulder rotation robs you all of your power. So maybe we kick it to the workbook because we want to show you the workbook, because if you don't have this,
so I can sell it to you.
I mean, and it's the one piece that is really valuable. You can keep this, on your phone. If you're going to surf practice, you can review this stuff. But it's good that we reference it because we want you to know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and guys, look, I know, all jokes aside, like we all know I get on the internet and try and sell you some stuff because we are a for-profit company. But like all jokes aside, like you got to buy this thing because it's literally the insurance to make sure this stuff sticks, right? You want the recordings. The recordings are fine. I think if you don't miss any of the action here, the workbook is a perfect summary to have. Like Nate said, have it on your phone or printing it out is a good time. And we'll just make sure this goes better. So getting into day 2 here, we're going to talk about the right to left drill.
Yeah, this is about making sure that you're keeping the palm down, the strings down, and getting it up over your head. But it's also about your shoulders and hips working together. All right, so let's show you this. Let's jump into the demo screen.
Demo mode to the stage, please.
In the first step of this, I'm going to show you with the racket before I play the video. I know you can see me real small here. This is the most important piece.
Let's make it
bigger. Is that fair enough? This is the most important piece. Go ahead and choke up to feel this nice and make it nice and comfortable.
Do you go grab your tennis rackets right now? Also, he's not saying this just like in the future, like unless you're at work right now. I guess that'd be weird.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Like if you're sitting at home right now, go get your tennis racket.
But we see a lot of players start where the racket's up, the wrist is rigid. Well, I mean, then you're swinging a stick, and we want you swinging a bullwhip. So if you choke up on your racket, you keep the palm down and you keep it nice and loose. This is the position we want you to start in for this drill. And then you can feel the weight of it when you move your hand down, really create kind of that lag. All right. So you won't be able to see that in the video. So before we jumped into it, I wanted to show you that. And then this is the exercise. you'll hear a lot of coaches call it saluting. We call it the right to left, right? There's a lot of names for this. Knocking the birthday hat off the head. But before you worry about anything else, just get the feeling of what the hand is doing and just working it from right to left. Now, if you're a lefty, not a big deal. You're just going left to right. You're just reversing it, but it should have this kind of arc over your head. We'll tell students every now and then, like, what if it was raining and you needed to shield yourself from the rain, right? And your racket actually had the ability, it didn't have strings, and it had the ability to protect you from the rain. Now, this is the first part of the movement. The second part of the movement is all about the elbow. So I'm going to draw on here. And what you want to focus on, get a new color, is the elbow is going to drive back as the racket moves from right to left. All right, so play this nice and slow. And that's what you're going to see here. Starting abbreviated, just start with the racket, list it to the right of your body as a righty, left of your body as a lefty. And then from here, as the racket moves right to left, what you'll find is I'm showing you this piece first, and then I'm going to start focusing on from the tossing arm. As the tossing arm goes up, the elbow drives back, and then the right to left. Tossing arm goes up, racket moves right to left, and you can see my tossing arm work so that it's on the non-dominant side of my body. That part is huge. So it's not just the right to left. We want to make sure that hitting elbow gets to the non-dominant side of the body. I know this is painfully slow, this demo, but really just want to make sure this drives home. I'm really taking my time here, apparently. So tossing arm.
Super slow-mo.
Yep. And then the right to left and the elbow. So you can see the tossing elbow is going to lead. We get this question every single challenge. Well, how do I sync it with the tossing arm? The tossing arm is going to lead. Tossing arm, and then the elbow, as it draws back, pulls the hand right to left. And this is going to put you in the proper power position. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, it's the trophy stance. We like the power position. But inevitably, what we want to make sure is that the palm stays down and the strings end up over your head to some degree. It can be back here.
I'm going to throw B-Man's question on the screen because you're quite literally answering it right now. So he asked, serious question, is there an ideal trophy position for the racket face? So like, where do you want your strings pointing? His coach showed him that having the strings face the net is ideal, kind of like Alcaraz, but Nate Dogg teaches a palm down. We're not really into the full trophy position when we're talking about palm down. That's more the what happens before you get into trophy position. So you want to clarify? Yeah, so I think you're saying as far as trophy position, B-Man, you're saying more like here, that's all good, right? I mean, like Alcaraz, you'll actually see he ends up a little bit in this position. And then as he works forward, the racket comes back where the tip is forward. The main thing is that the palm is down here. But you'll see some players, if I show you sideways, let me show you this way. Some players will end up in this position where it's not, the palm's not down. This is more what we'll see with Alcaraz, or at least how his serve was when we first got our tour, where the racket tip is up. What we want to make sure, though, is that in the beginning, the palm is down because this is keeping everything loose. A lot of players, if they do like the lawnmower pull where the wrist just stays stiff, they end up doing this, and that's the no-no. Cool. B-Man, hopefully that provides clarity. Yeah, that palm down is not, he's not to the trophy position yet once we've moved right to left. So that's the clarification, hopefully, that you needed. Yep. You got it, man. Moving right along. So the right to left drill, you kind of showed them, but like the exercise is basically just to start in. I'll go to the workbook here so they can literally just read it with me. Share my screen to the internet. So from the workbook, these are the exercises, very straightforward. Start in your serve stance. You'll notice that we're taking that back toe even with the front heel. You're going to align your hitting elbow with your tossing arm, and your shoulders should be perpendicular to your line, which you see here. Holding the throat of the racket, we're choking up, remember. Face the tip to the right. And again, if you're a lefty, you're going to reverse this. Using your elbow, you're going to move your racket above your head in a rainbow motion until your racket tip is on the left side of your body, pointing down into the racket trap, which you see here. And then you're just going to repeat this over and over and over again until this really starts to feel natural. We say 10 times here, but really as much as needed. You want me to head on over to the demo mode? So
yeah, we're getting a question where they're saying, well, can we see it in an actual serve? So I could show you any serve, and you're going to see some part of the right to left. So here we have FAA, Felix Auger-Aliassime. You'll see here his serve, although the racket goes down, it's still relatively abbreviated. Speed it up just a little bit because this is painfully slow. But right here, you'll see the racket working up. And then at this point, you're going to see the racket going from right to left. And you see how loose his wrist is, right? The wrist is nice and loose. Racket moves right to left. Boom. There's the power position. Also important to note, notice that's a horrible circle. That's hilarious, that how large that is. But you'll also notice here the hitting elbow is on the non-dominant side of his body. All right, that piece is really, really important because what we see a lot of times is that players will, from their power position, will pull their elbow in, and then this allows the wrist to lay back and get into that waiter string. So one of the biggest errors that we see is the internal shoulder rotation too early. We really want to make sure that that hitting arm gets on the non-dominant side. With that, I think we're ready for step 2 of day 2.
Step 2 of day 2, 2.2. I'm gonna take you off the
Yes, sir.
the demo stage here. All right, so we're going to talk now about how to actually approach the ball here with something we like to call the elbow the ball drill. You want to go right back to demo?
Yeah, I think that's fine. So elbow the ball, partly what happens is that a lot of coaches will have players focus on the rackets. And that's exactly where, as a tennis player, our mind goes. It's like how to control the racket. Well, we don't really want to control anything. We want the body to move in a manner that allows the racket to enter the appropriate position. So the elbow the ball, all you're really thinking about is how to get your elbow up to the ball. And when you do this, this simplifies the racket drop entirely. Now, the toss here is going to be relatively low. Don't worry about that. But what you're going to pay attention to is just here, the elbow firing up to the ball. And now look at this. You can see the racket drop there. The racket and the elbow can't be in the same place. It operates like a lever. So if one end of the lever is up, the other end of the lever has to be down, right? Racket tip goes down because my elbow is up. So all this drill is doing, the challenge here, because this is a 5-day challenge, is to simply toss the ball and hit it with your hitting elbow. And by doing this, it's pretty cool that it actually puts you into the appropriate racket drop. This is the easiest way, the most intuitive way to learn the racket drop instead of forcing, putting the sword in its sheath or comb your hair, which is all ways of just getting stiff.
Throw that in the comments because we hear this so much, and I even see coaches teach it like pat your ponytail with your strings, put your racket, like touch your back with the blade of your racket. If you're doing that, you're just creating even more tension, even more stiffness, and that racket drop isn't certainly not going to crack like a bullwhip.
Yeah, and I think something to touch on, when you do hear that, the idea of your racket being this close to your body is a no-no. Doesn't matter what professional server you look, there's space. The racket operates through the racket drop here as it swings around. So like the idea of like the racket's your ponytail or you're brushing your hair, that would put the racket way too close to your body. That's not ideal. So that's the exercise. We've got 2 of them so far, right? We just have the right to left, and then we have the elbow up to the ball. You combine those 2 things, and you're getting into the key mechanisms of the serve. You're getting the racket to where you're coiling, right? And then from there, you're getting into the racket drop by firing the elbow up to the ball.
We got some messages on this last night because we are selling a product right now called the 5-minute power serve sequence, where we show you how to add 15 miles per hour in 5 minutes in one serve. And everybody's like, why do I have to go hang out with you for 5 days to do it if I can do it in 5 minutes in one serve?
Right, yeah.
And the instruction inside of that course, you don't need to go buy it because you're here hanging out with us. The instruction inside of that course is just pieces of what we're talking about here, but the large majority of your power really comes from relieving tension and getting into that racket drop. Like the pro level racket drop that comes from doing this right to left solution and elbowing the ball is a large portion of that course that we're selling that sort of magically adds power very quickly.
All right, so now to the crucial element. You know that the vast majority of your power, at least 50, people can argue about this forever, but at least 50% of your power is going to come from your legs, right? So what is it that drives the elbow up to the ball? Well, it is your legs. We like to refer to it as pulsing up. So therefore, in the workbook, you're going to see that we ask you to do the pulse up drill. You've got a great analogy where you talk about lifting a really heavy racket. Would you like to share that?
I would love to. This is the workbook. I'm glad it took me so long to share it that now it doesn't make sense to share it anymore, and I'm going to stop. Can I borrow your weapon? Actually, can I borrow your weapon and your body? So will you put your arm into the racket drop? So if Nate Dogg was in his racket drop and you imagine that this racket weighed, let's say 100 pounds, as strong as Nate is, he can't tricep curl a 100-pound racket. So if this thing weighed 100 pounds, the only way to get this moving would be for him to really bend his legs and try and get power from the floor to help him lift that very heavy weight. So this is really kind of the way you think about how to get power from the ground. I think a lot of people confuse it thinking they should be trying to jump as high as they can. It's really that pushing into the ground, creating resistance to operate with leverage from is really the unlock here. Yes.
Yeah, totally. If it was 100 pounds, it'd break my arm, but we all get the image. So, but that's it, right? So in this next drill where we do the pulse up drill, as we go to the demo screen, what I really want you to focus on is what's happening with the feet, but specifically the back foot here. So what you'll see, let me clear that so you can see it because I am moving around. As the racket drops and extends up, it's really the feet that are the driving mechanism. You can see that back heel is up off the ground as I'm showing you here. And as I'm dropping down my back, the elbow fires up to the ball. And then I'm just holding the contact point. And that's what we want you to practice at home. It's just getting that cadence. I'll make it go a little bit slower, but getting into that cadence where you're really just comfortable from the right to left, pulling the racket to that power position, and then using your back leg to fire the elbow, and then focus on just holding what would be the contact point, because that's the extension that you want for a flat, powerful serve. I mean, really any serve. You want to have the racket and arm working to full extension. So the kinetic chain, let's take a look at it on a professional serve so that you can really get this and have it.
Also, guys, if you have questions, now would be the time to start firing them in here. We will open up the floor here in a moment, right after we look at everyone's favorite bad boy, Nick Uris.
Doesn't play a lot of tennis anymore, but he had one heck of a serve.
But he sure can tweet on X.
Yeah, he likes.
Wait, is it still called tweeting?
Xing? I don't know. I'm not on there, so.
Internet, tell us what you think.
Yeah.
When you post something on X now, what is it called? Because it's not Twitter anymore.
That's right.
You Xing?
All right, so let's check this out. So we've got curious in the beginning.
Remember how important this is. Sorry, go ahead.
It is important. First thing you're going to see is the right to left. As mentioned, his tossing arm will lead it. He has a pretty good lag. There's your right to left. So let's freeze right there. That power position is, I mean, ridiculous. You can see just kind of the axis here. Let me change the color so you can see that better. I mean, you measure from the hitting elbow to the tossing hand. That's pretty phenomenal. So the right to left and the elbow coiling, the shoulders and hips coiling to get the elbow on the non-dominant side. He's in a phenomenal coiled power position. He's corkscrewing. Now from here, put your attention down to his feet. What you'll notice is that he's loaded. Energy is going down. So as he loads energy down, what that means is energy will then go up, and as a byproduct, his racket will then go down. Right? So feet off the ground, that's driving the elbow up to the ball, right? And from there, you can see this is where the racket has swung around. So it's just these three exercises together. I'll let that play, but it's really this, the right to left, right here. So tossing arm leads, right to left, feet load down, elbow fires up to the ball. He reaches out to extension before landing. That's those three exercises put together. And if you can do those three things, you're going to have an awesome serve. This is the meat and potatoes of the serve. This is absolutely critical if you ever want to hit the 3-digit mark on the serve.
This is a prescription, not a suggestion.
That's right.
Day 2 is my favorite day because we didn't really cover too much information, but the information we covered is so freaking impactful that if you just take this to the courts, I mean, look, day 1, let me show our faces. Day 1 is important because it's the foundations. A lot of us think we have the continental grip right, and then we blow your mind and show you that your heel pad's in the wrong place, and that's why you've had waiters straight for 10 years, and you're like, oh, wow. Once we fix that, I think we all understand that we want to get the hips and shoulders involved. So pulling that foot back helps. I think a lot of us have tosses that wander. We've got to check these boxes right before we're kind of in position. But power comes from not having waiter astray and being able to get into that racket drop. Nate's right to left instruction here basically prevents you from being able to get into waiter astray. Like, it would be really weird if you were using a saluting motion and then all of a sudden your hand just suddenly went whoop, right? Like, if you're thinking about making this move, it's really hard to end up somehow here. So I think for a lot of you that have waiter astray and that's preventing you from getting that racket down your back, right to left will fix that. And then understanding that you're not placing your racket anywhere, that you're firing up to the ball with your elbow. This is where all of the power comes from. If you really turned off the challenge and just took this information from days 1 and days 2 to the court, you'll probably add 15 miles per hour.
Yeah. Seen a message from somebody, you're saying, oh man, this is great, you should have led with this. Well, here's the thing though, if you don't lead with the fundamentals, it's like, I can't tell you how many players we've worked with where they understand the racket drop, they're good, the racket doesn't enter the appropriate position because the grip isn't correct, right? So it's like, you've got the blueprint, architect gave you a great blueprint to build a house, but you don't have the tools to actually build it. We've got to have all of this combined in order to put it all together.
For sure.
All right, open it up. We got any questions out there? I see
it's awfully quiet in the chat. I've never seen this. We have 378 people currently watching, and not one of them has asked a question other than my man, B-Man, Busey, Bussy.
B-Man, you got anything for us? We'll just hang out. It's cool. Just us.
Yeah, this is a first. We don't normally just stand here and beg you to ask us questions. It's normally the other way around. But fire some questions in if you have them. I do want to do just a quick recap of what you've heard so far. And remember that if you just want to go watch this again, obviously the recording's the place to go do that. We actually have, believe it or not, gotten asked where to go to buy those. So let me throw that on the screen. If you just literally go to PlayYourCourt.com/recordings, that is going to be the place to pick up the recordings for this challenge. Here come the questions flowing in. Ask and you shall receive, Nate Dogg. You ready? This is where you guys can go to grab the recordings, and now we're going to start chipping away at some of these questions here. Austin asks us, can you cover the jump? I don't understand when to jump.
That's a good one. And that's one that a lot of people really struggle with. I'll give you the most simple version of it, right? So once I've got my tossing arm extended and I'm in my power position, bend your knees, right? That's the easiest way to think of it. So ultimately, I mean, like, you can keep it that simple. Start in your power position. Start here. Just keep the racket nice and loose from here. Toss the ball. And from here, what you'll feel is that as your tossing arm reaches all the way up, then focus on bending the knees and then going up to get the ball. That's going to be the most simple, right? Arms are up, knees go down, go up and get the ball. Now, you're going to have a lot of others. Scott likes to talk about, like, from your tossing arm, if you imagine you had tape on the back of your hand, it goes to your leg. It kind of pulls your knee into that knee bend. That's a little bit more rhythmic. But for really, as far as timing the jump, I really do like that. Once the tossing arm has reached full extension, then just focus on sinking down into your knee bend. And there should be a lag. What do I mean by lag? I mean that your knees should be bent as you hold this position. And it's only until that your legs are straightening out that you're jumping that the rest of the racket will fire. Somebody else asked here if they could see a lefty. So we'll go to demo mode, Austin, and I'll show the lefty and I'll show you what we're talking about with the loading phase. This is Ben Shelton here. So Shelton, what you'll see, you see
zoom more.
Oh, because it's
what if you just pinch on your screen? There we go. Look at you, technology wizard.
Need the whole thing. There you go. All right, I think we can see it pretty good from there. So he's going to go left to right. And you'll see right there, he just kind of sinks down into his knee bend. This would be way more advanced, but you're also probably not Ben Shelton where you're getting this kind of load. It's just ridiculous, right? But what you'll see there is his tossing arm is all the way up with his knees bent. Now, part of the reason Ben's serve is just so ridiculous is that his racket has to play catch up all the way from there as he unloads. So as he jumps, his racket has to travel a really long way. And that's why he's getting such massive pop. That's not something that I think you should copy. That's why I was saying the most simplified version is start from the power position and the tossing arm up. When everything gets up, your legs go down.
Well done, Ado.
Hey, thanks, buddy. What else we got?
Well, Adriana Deneau, one of our favorite coaches in the DC metro area, is here. And of course, she is saying really nice things. She says everyone should sign up for their serve workshop. It's funny. You should mention that, Adriana.
Teed it right up, Adriana.
All jokes aside, because we do get asked whenever we run these live streams, can I come train with you? The answer to that is yes. And if you go to PlayYourCourt.com in the upper little navigation bar, there's a little section that says private tennis clinics, or you can just go here. And we do actually have a serve workshop coming up here in October that we would love for any of you guys to join. We still have a couple spots left. So if you want to come learn all of this stuff with us or look at any of the other in-person stuff we have to offer, it is right there at a very long URL, PlayYourCourt.com/work-with-Scott. Maybe just take a screenshot or just go to PlayYourCourt.com and figure this out. But we'd love to work with you guys in person here in Virginia Beach in October if that's of interest. Moving right back to the questions. We kind of covered this in the demo you just showed with Shelton, but do you want to just quickly recap?
When is the back foot? Yeah, the back foot is going up. So once you're, again, in kind of this power position and the tossing arm has gone all the way up, as soon as you're launching up to the ball, I mean, your back heel should be up because you're jumping, right? You're loading energy down, you're pulsing up. But I really do think that's the easiest cadence. Tossing arm is up. I always kind of like to think of it as the quiet before the storm, right? Like the tossing arm goes up. I'm in this hold position. I'm in my knees are bent. And then as I jump, that's the storm. That's when all the lightning's going to happen here, right?
I like the instruction that you give. Because honestly, when I'm working with a lower level player, I'll try and sync up their toss hand with their front leg. Nate will teach you to bend a little bit later, which is correct. But if you're struggling to kind of figure out the timing of this, to get it very close, if you bring your tossing hand all the way down, so I'm right-handed, so this is my left hand, my tossing hand with the ball. If I bring the ball in my hand all the way down to my front thigh and act as though I've got like stickum on my hand that now sticks to my leg, as my arm pulls up, that would pull my knee with it. So I want that to be like, you understand that's the general timing of this. When your arm starts to go up, that's when you need to start thinking about that front leg bending forward. And then once you actually feel that and understand that, then you're just going to wait a little bit longer as if there's a string attached to your hand that's pulling your knee up once it gets a little bit further away, so that you're starting to sink in as that ball gets, to the release point. So if you're struggling to time this, just think about stick them on your toss hand, let that stick to your leg and have that pull your leg up as it goes forward. Once you feel that, then I think you're going to want to delay that leg movement a little bit to have it feel a little more powerful and generate some more leverage. Kathy, how to make your toss more consistent?
You should have been here on day one.
You are going to go. Oh, wait. I got Kathy covered. Kathy, you're going to go to PlayYourCourt.com/recordings, and you're going to watch the day one instruction that we talked about yesterday. I'll give her a teaser. I can't mess with her that hard. All right. So I'm going to do this at light speed because, all jokes aside, we did cover this yesterday, and you should buy the recordings. But the way you're going to do this, you're going to eliminate all of the bends in your arms, no bend in your elbow, no bend in your wrist, no rolling the ball off your fingertips. You're going to hold the ball either as a tulip, show the people, a tulip, or an ice cream cone. And you're going to release by opening your hand at eye level. If you do it before eye level, you're going to throw the ball too far in front. If you do it above your eye level, you're going to throw the ball too far in back. And that is the secrets to a consistent toss. Bonus material, don't windmill your arm in either direction, or the ball will go in the direction that you windmill.
And Kathy, start with your eyes up. You don't need to look down at the ball. It's going to create a hitch. Start with your eyes up and look where you're tossing the ball. That'll get you.
Sonny asks, why is my screen so small? Hold on 1 second. Sonny didn't ask that. I asked that. In the semi-abbreviated serve, what would be earliest to absorb starting position of the dominant hand? So when would be the earliest to the semi-abbreviated serve? So I think she's talking about right to left. What would be the earliest to absorb the starting position of the dominant hand? I don't understand. Oh, easiest. There you go.
Easiest. Got it. Okay.
That makes more sense. What would be the easiest to absorb this? Nope. Still don't know what that means. You tracking?
No. Sonny,
Sonny, rewrite your question because we dumb and we don't understand what you're asking. Do us a favor and just rewrite so we can clarify. Fortunately, you did ask more questions that we'll get to down here. We've got enough in here where you've got time. So, Sonny, retype that first question about the abbreviated serve, and we'll come back to you. Tyrone says, will you cover the ideal height of the toss and contact at the apex and what that does for speed and consistency? We will, and I believe it happens tomorrow. Nope, that's a day 4. So, Tyrone, yes, we will. It's day 4. Quick sneak peek. Full extension of your arm is going to be where you want that height to be. It never makes sense to toss much higher than how high you can reach with the sweet spot of your strings. But
plus your jump.
Plus your jump.
Yeah.
And we'll go into a lot more detail on day 4 of exactly how to do that, what the drills are, and what it should feel like. Did you cover how high to toss the ball? I did now. Yeah, but we'll talk about that. Yes. Yeah, we'll talk about that on day 4. And look, the reason we don't jump too far ahead is there's a lot of stuff going on here, right? Day 1 in particular is like, it kind of can feel like a lot if you were doing some of that stuff wrong. So day 2, you may have noticed we pulled it back, released a couple of things. We want you to practice this right to left drill. Make sure that racket drop is happening with your elbow. Then we'll add on, okay? So be patient with us. There's a method to our madness.
And remember, the serve is one of the most complex movements in all sports. You know, pitching has 6 moving parts. The serve has 8. So it's impossible. And I know a lot of us, like in our tennis lessons, like you take 10 minutes at the very end to hit some serves. You got to spend time with it, and you got to spend time with it piece by piece. So like we just try to make it to where each day, like the goal would be you go practice what we talked about today. Don't try to jump ahead too much because you're going to convolute it. But progressions, regressions, those are our best friends.
I'm going to be careful how I answer this. Otherwise you're going to quit.
Oh boy, here we go.
Sonny says, do you guys analyze video recordings of the serve and provide insights in your virtual workshops? So I'm going to tell you something that we haven't announced anywhere yet. So if you're watching this, you're getting some behind the scenes news. We are getting ready to change the way our entire membership product works. And there's going to be a tier called Elite, which will actually give you regular virtual access to me and Nate. And it'll also give you the ability for him to do video analysis with your strokes. We do currently have that in our Plus platform. So if you're a PlayYourCourt Plus member, that is something you can do with Nate. I believe we're giving him, like 2 a year? It's gotten to the point where Nate's getting quite busy doing video analysis, and we realize it's very underpriced because the value there, obviously, one of the best technique coaches in the world, is pretty high. Oh, shucks. So the answer is yes, and the price on it's getting ready to get a lot higher in a tier called Elite. So if you're in our email list, be on the lookout for that. And if you want to jump in there and Plus and take advantage of Nate Dogg while it's still way underpriced, you can do that too.
I'll be happy to help, Sonny.
Let's see here. Classy pack. Is the process the same for flat and slice and kick serves? So I can address this one quickly if you want. It's one of the rare questions I know the answers to. Just kidding. So the answer for flat and slice is very, very similar. All of the movements that we're talking about are the same until contact. So slice, obviously, you're going to be chopping around the ear of the ball, whereas flat, you're making flush contact behind the ball. But your toss, everything that we've talked about in day 1 and day 2 so far are exactly the same. Kick serve is an entirely different animal because the toss is going to go in your back pocket. you're going to be thinking about approaching the ball in a different way. So the kick serve is not something we're covering here today. The kick serve is also not a serve that people typically lean into for more power. So this challenge is all about power, but we have a ton of instruction on YouTube that's for free on the kick serve. So definitely go check that out and understand the variations. But yeah, flat and slice, very similar. Kick, different animal. Let's see here. Man, we had no questions. We asked for questions. Now we have all the questions.
Fantastic. Let's get
What we want to hear. Gene says, as to grip, what is this talk about trigger finger guiding the serves? You're really big on the trigger finger. You want to cover this guy?
So
why the dexterity and spacing?
Yes, but the trigger finger, what coaches are referring to is that you want to make sure that your index finger is spread out, right? Like you don't want it here. You don't want a fist because you just don't have the same dexterity. And a fist is going to lead to tension. You're going to want to squeeze tighter. So from here, spread the fingers out. And when they say like the trigger finger leads the serve, you're going to be able to have a little bit more control of the blade of the racket. Get it? Because it's a blade. The head of the racket, right? So from here, in that motion, as I'm working through, that trigger finger is going to help lead that racket to the right to left. We just want to make sure that we're not having a grip that's going to lead to tension, because tension is the killer of all power, right? Hope that helps. I think that's pretty much what you asked, but
that's what they're asking.
What else we got?
Here we go. Sonny provided some clarification on previous question. What I meant, so how do we develop a smooth rhythm with the serve that seems simple and elegant, say like Serena Williams? Okay, so rhythm, no, everybody's going to hate my answers to all these questions. Tomorrow is all about rhythm.
Literally the whole day is about creating.
The entire day is about how to smooth this out, how to make this actually feel natural. So be patient with us, Sonny. I know you're here. I know you were here yesterday. Definitely tune in tomorrow for rhythm. It is quite literally day 3 is, I think, every single piece of it is just smoothing things out.
That's right.
So for right now, Sonny, I would go practice again. Just put in a lot of reps with the right to left. Understand how that elbow moves up to the ball, and get that locked and loaded. And then tomorrow we'll smooth it all out with some rhythm instruction. Let's see here. So I think I may have already covered this before I got down to seeing your question. Does the kick serve require a change in the coil length and depth? So honestly, Jayhawk, the kick serve requires a change to almost everything. The grip would be the one area, and even the grip, you can start to shift that heel pad for more spin if you want. But you want to talk about this at all, or is the answer just...
So I mean, as far as the fundamentals, like things aren't changing in the kick serve, but the kick serve, what's really happening because you're putting the ball further to your non-dominant side, you will deepen the coil a bit, and your loading cycle isn't going to be completed. Your loading cycle is going to be completed, but your uncoiling, your uncorkscrewing cycle is going to be partially interrupted because of where the contact is, and then it'll finish through. But to some degree, yes. But I think mostly the kind of the cool thing with the kick serve is that when you put the ball behind you, all of the stretch shortening cycle kind of happens automatically because of where the contact occurs. So I want to put a lot of emphasis on it. The one thing that I see players that will help is they'll adjust their stance. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, to where they'll take their back foot, they'll slide it, and they'll open their hip more, just so that they can get a little bit of their coil happening a little bit smoother back behind them, so that they can make contact here as opposed to here. Obviously, that's not the contact point, but camera's not up at the ceiling. So long answer to say,
Yes.
It's
much different. Is the answer. Classy Pack. I'm not going to get that right today. For the grip, can you have 2/3 of the hand on it to be more smooth, and then provide a clarification, meaning the bottom of the hand is under the grip? So this is actually how I hold my racket to serve, and I'm going to get in here really close. So my heel pad is off the bottom of the racket. It's personal preference. There's nothing wrong with being here. What would be wrong is being all the way up here, where the racket's going to feel flimsy in your hand. So you can be all the way at the bottom of the grip, or your heel pad can hang a bit off the grip, whatever is more comfortable for you. So the answer to your question is absolutely.
There you
go. I believe, unless you guys have anything else, we have run through all of the questions. Tomorrow, as Nate Dogg mentioned, we are going to get into talking about rhythm and how to sort of smooth all of this stuff out. So go back, watch the recordings from day 1, day 2. Make sure you've got the continental grip. Make sure you've got your stance correct. Make sure you're getting those hips and shoulders involved, the rear pelvic tilt. Make sure your toss is under control. And then rewatch today and get your, really get the racket drop fixed with this right to left motion and understanding how the elbow approaches the ball. And lastly, I suppose getting your legs involved with the pulse-up drill. Sounds like a lot, but I feel like if you've been here with us, it's probably starting to just feel like we're taking basic concepts and building, and hopefully you're practicing this stuff at home, and the magic is happening. It typically does when we run these things.
Is that it? Is that it for day 2?
There we go. One more question. 2 more questions. Okay, and the tension of the grip, 2 to 10. Oh, yes.
Keep it loose, man.
Yes.
Somebody should be able to snatch the racket out of your hand if you weren't paying attention.
My second favorite analogy. Don't take this away from me.
What?
It's the baby bird analogy.
Okay.
You've got to hold your racket like you would hold a baby bird. You don't want him to fly away, but you don't want to crush him to death.
That's wonderful.
I don't understand this question. Why do you suggest practicing at half court first? I don't think we did do that, did we?
I don't know. Not in this challenge. We did.
Yeah, Gene, I'm not sure I'm following the question. All the things we're practicing, you're definitely doing from the
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely done videos where you're practicing from the service line. This learning a slice serve, starting to serve as far as you can from the service line to make the angle and the targeting easier, then eventually like starting to work your way back. We can do it for internal shoulder rotation where you're just trying to get a little bit more snap and feeling what it's like to serve if you're 7 feet tall. But yeah, we haven't talked about that for this challenge.
Yep.
But thank you for the question.
All right, guys, that's all we got for day 2 here. We will see you tomorrow for day 3, Wednesday, September 9th at noon Eastern time, talking all about rhythm. It's an important day, so do not miss it.
Rhythm is a dancer.
If you have to miss it, buy the recordings. I'm done selling.
Rhythm
You guys have yeah, that was a good joke.
Do you know the reference?
Yeah, it's a nice song from your generation.
Rhythm is
Because
a
he's
dancer.
old.
All right, guys.
We'll see you tomorrow.